Peace to the gods and goddesses. What's good? What's good? Peace to the gods and goddesses. Peace to the gods and goddesses. What's good with y'all? Just letting it build up in here. What's good? What's good? Peace to the gods and goddesses. What's good with y'all? I'm just letting it pile up in here. I see some heads starting to come in here. What's good with y'all? What's good with y'all? I ain't been with y'all in a few days. Just wanted to politic with the collective for a minute. What's good with y'all? Share the live. We got to tap in. We got some important things to discuss real quick. Peace to the gods and goddesses. Share the live. I'm going to let it build up in here real quick before I start going into this topic of discussion. Peace to the gods and goddesses. I hope y'all feeling good. I see we growing. We get more in here. What's good with y'all? I hope y'all feeling good. Okay, we growing. Share the live. Peace to the gods and goddesses. What's good with y'all? What's good with y'all? I seen some crazy, some very crazy stuff earlier in reference to the CIA. Okay, I gotta just be very cautious. TikTok loves to suppress my my information, so I gotta be very cautious in regards to what I say. But and this is public information. You can look it up. But CIA is the CIA Central Intelligence Agency is actually indicating that there's going to be a lot of cataclysm in regards to earthquakes and tumultuous activity in California. All right, we're talking about volcanic activity. We're talking about devastating earthquakes and crazy winds. All right, that are going to take place. I personally believe that there's going to be Nibiru is entering, and I believe that that's one of the reasons why this is going to take place. The Anunnaki is reemerging. It's going to be a lot that's taking place on the planet, and it's important that the collective pay attention to what's going on. Peace to the gods and goddesses is joining. What's good with y'all? What's good with y'all? We getting into CIA archives and what's transpiring in regards to released documents that I've seen with the CIA talking about cataclysmic events that are taking place in places like California. All right, as well as New York, Dallas. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, and we're talking about lots of water that may take place. All right. So it's a situation where I personally believe Nibiru is entering our atmosphere. The goddess Isis Wisdom made a video about the Anunnaki coming, and that's true. Russia actually talked about this as well. The KGB agent, in reference to the Anunnaki excursions that came into play. All right, when the Anunnaki was opening portals and going to different areas and things of that nature, and they couldn't stop the Anunnaki. They also had a run-in with some soldiers in Iraq. All right, with the Anunnaki, and there was an issue with them. New York also, yeah, they mentioned New York in the CIA archives. There's going to be a devastation, apparently. You feel me? And this is why a lot of these billionaires are building bunkers underground and things of that nature. You feel me? So right now, these billionaires is building these bunkers because it's going to get intense. Now, I made mention of a geomagnetic storm. Okay. You hear this a lot, all right? And this was predicted in the Syrian cuneiform text about 2,700 years ago in regards to this geomagnetic storm that's going to take place, all right? And the Hopis made mention of Sirius and Nibiru coming into play. And when Sirius and Nibiru come into play, it's going to envelop what's called the Seven Thunders, all right? And the Seven Thunders is Dr. Malachi Z. York made mention. I got the holy tablets actually right here with the Seven Thunders in it, where I can actually go through the Seven Thunders. We're in the midst of that right now. With the Hopi Prophecy, made mention of the Seven Thunders. We're in the midst of that right now. We're experiencing all of that right now, guys and goddesses, the Seven Thunders. The most important thing right now that we can do is make sure our frequency is high. You're going to see a lot more extraterrestrial visitation too. A lot of you guys have star family. And I'm not saying they're going to save us. The whole thing is us saving ourselves by raising our frequency, elevating to a certain frequency. What's happening now is Tiamat's cleansing itself. It's going to go through a cleansing process. Everything that the deletes utilize as far as cloud seeding technology, everything that they utilize in regards to change this matrix and shift this paradigm to their will is going to backfire on them. It's going to backfire. All the simulators, everything that they have been utilizing thus far to induce this, basically this computer-generated matrix that we're in, right? That we're inhabiting is going to backfire on them because the planet is going to have to cleanse itself. Just like you'll cough or sneeze to cleanse yourself or get a toxin out your system, and your trillions of cells, to them it may be a natural disaster whenever you're coughing or sneezing. Your trillions of cells that are sentient may look at that as something that's cataclysmic. That's just the same thing, because we're basically the cells that's inhabiting Tiamat, all right? But now some of us are parasites and some of us are what's called white blood cells. The white blood cells are going to be the ones that are activated once this geomagnetic storm come into play. This is why I stress the importance of cleansing yourself, making sure you remove all parasitic organisms, making sure that you're getting all toxic metals out of the body, all right? This is all important for what's called light code activation, all right? This is important for light code activation, guys and goddesses. So right now, what we talk about the seven thunders, all right? The seven thunders have been recorded by the ancient, it says, for thousands of years by Hopis. The Yamasee and the Nawapians have logged these thunders as a sign of a coming of a new planet. Nibiru, the coming in of a new era, the sign of the end of the present world ruled by evil, and the resurrection of the ancient mysteries of Egypt. Atlantis rising again in the heart of Georgia, and a place called Wahani. These signs are the signs of the times, recorded by the ancient Neteru of ancient Egypt and passed down through time. They are called thunders or the plagues. This is facts. This is facts, and this is what we're witnessing right now. There's going to be a lot of ancient relics that are going to be resurfaced, that are going to come into play. Now, I wish I could pull it up or green screen it somehow. I should have had it prepared, but next time I'm going to make a video basically on it where you're going to see the CIA document that's mentioning all the cataclysm that's going to take place. All right. What we're going to witness as well is a lot of interterrestrials, a lot of these beings, a lot of the Flugerods, a lot of the Deros and the Teros. A lot of these beings are going to start surfacing. All right. Different reptilians and things of that nature may start surfacing. All right. This is going to be a situation where there's a lot of interterrestrials that aren't talked about. Everybody's thinking about extraterrestrial biological entities. That extraterrestrials, what extraterrestrial meaning that these beings are from. Some of them could be from the other side of the ice wall, because we know that exists as well. And then there are beings that can be outside this atmosphere as well, in other worlds, all right? Because they have portals and Stargate technology that they've been utilizing for millenniums, all right? And this is some of the technology that Saddam Hussein had in Iraq. When they went into Iraq, they found Stargate technology with draconian insignia on it, all right? It had insignia from the C.I.A Empire. That was on it. It was a draconian with wings. That was on a Stargate technology that they found when they went over there. Most of the wars that take place is for extraterrestrial technology, ancient technology that they have. All right, so when it basically the seven thunders mentions Atlantis rising again, you got to remember when because Inky flooded Atlantis because of what Areshka girl and the Dark Brothers was doing. All right. Their objective was to basically utilize that technology for malevolent purposes, all right? We're talking about Areshka girl now, and this is where we talk about Inanna going into the underworld and things of that nature, going to war with her sister. Because, Inanna was Inky daughter and Areshka girl, all right? We're talking about daughters of Inky. One of them was malevolent, one of them was benevolent. One of them was agreeable, one was disagreeable, all right? And now, at that time in Atlantis, they had quantum rejuvenation chambers. Their technology was way beyond what we have currently. All right. We wasn't always a level 0 civilization. At one point, we was like a level 2. We was a higher level civilization at one point. All right. But when we were attacked and our crystal structures were destroyed and our trees were chopped down and things of that nature, it brought us down to what we are currently, which is a level 0 civilization on a Kardashev scale. OK, so this is why we haven't really. We have to get to a point now where we re-ascertain that primordial essence in order to spark that light and become that higher level civilization again, which we can accomplish that, but we just have to do it through right knowledge. We have to actually go inward. We have to eradicate all nefarious energy, our malevolent energy, and get back into that higher frequency. All right, because the jinn is the malevolent section of the Anunnaki. Those beings that you hear in the Quran that was composed of fire. Those jinn beings. That was what they call a Garabat. the negative faction of the Anunnaki. They came down with Tarnush and Halal. These are those disagreeable beings that you see typically that are seeds of Enlil, that are associated with the government factions. All right, these are them. These beings, a lot of these beings also come from Saturn, believe it or not. All right, this is why Norman Bergrun made mention of. He said they was black when he talked about these beings coming out of the ship, and he mentioned they was. I mean, I'm talking about when I say black, I'm talking about jet black. Super pitch black. Like this black behind me you see underneath the tiger. That's the Lyran energy you see, matter of fact. Right underneath that black. These is how these beings look from Saturn. All right. Now, this is where you hear the term they look like us, but they're not us. These are the 1% shadow government. The ones that are associated with the cabal. They're actually, these are the ones that are what you may call the hidden hand. Right. These are the dark draconians, basically, the black draconians. That you hear. These beings are from Saturn. All right. Saturn is induced. When you hear the Saturn moon matrix, Saturn is basically Chronos, Father Time. It deals with the time spell, the time mechanism that we're encapsulated in. This whole time illusion. All right. That's the personification of Saturn. All right. So when you hear that, what about the that is always with every human? I don't understand. You got to answer that question a little bit different, reword it. Make sure that if you ask a question that you thoroughly eloquent with the way that you present it, so I can read it and understand exactly what you're asking me, so I can answer it as best to the best of my ability. But right now we gonna go into the 7 thunders. All right, I'm gonna read the 7 thunders to you so you can understand. Now, the first thunders: much starvation, sickness, starving children, homelessness, and diseases. This already passes and continues. Okay, so starvation and things of that nature. We see that all the time, all right? And it doesn't even have to be like that. Now, when we touch on starvation, we can actually touch on how they cut all the female trees down, right? How if they were to let more female trees flourish, things like homelessness wouldn't even exist. But their greed is what creates the starvation, right? And that goes into just the patriarchal system. Now, we get into the second thunder. The sky becomes sick with holes in it. Okay, we see them spraying and shooting at the firmament. We know they cloud seeding. We know they utilize chemtrails and things of that nature. The sick with holes in it that look like sores, lung disease spread, breathing problems occur, green mist coming from holes, polluting water, growing deformities, bacteria in the water, little devils. Sea animals begin to die. Fishes are trying to get out of the water. Water becomes death to them. Physical and spiritual illness. Mutations in the animals. We see all kind of weird animals. We see all types of weird atrocities in the sea. I seen a video of sharks actually trying to get away from something. And you know, sharks is pretty much the most carnivorous beings in the waters typically. This shark was running, fleeing from something, right? So they mentioned the little devils. Now, when we talk about the UFO convention, we know that they made mention of the water. They highlighted the water and how they actually, we know that the Anunnaki used Sirius to get use the Bermuda Triangle to get to Sirius. We know that there's different tunnel systems and wormholes right through the water. We know that, right? So now here's the thing. On the other side of those wormholes, there's other beings coming through. Different beings coming through from inner earth and things of that nature. Water aquatic beings that are actually in the central earth are now coming to our parts of the waters is what's going on. And these beings are chasing some of the aquatic life in our waters. And they're not accustomed to some of these behemoth beings. I'm talking about crazy looking beings. A lot of the beings that they say are extinct actually find wormhole passages through the ocean and go and get to Agartha that way, right through the water. Real talk. All right. There's numerous ways in the funnel in through Tiamat from through the water. The water is a huge portal, believe it or not. All right. So don't let them trick you when they come to the water. And this is why you hear a lot of this stuff with the oceans and things of that nature. The third thunder, many new species, notations and animals, right? Crossbreeding in species, death of frogs, honeybees. You know what? We're going to touch on frogs before I skip the honeybees. We seen what was happening with the frogs with the atrazine, right? From the endocrine disruptors, right? And the glyphosate. This is all in the thunders. Pay attention. So when they're talking about the atrazine, we seen that with the frogs, the first thing that was happening is male frogs were becoming female frogs and things of that nature. And a lot of them was dying, right? So this is all signs, right? So this is all signs of the 7 thunders that the Hopis was all seeing. So again, we're gonna read that again. It says crossbreeding in species, death of frogs, honeybees. We see what's happening with the honeybees and things of that nature. We see that. Turtles, deformed human, multiply. Genetic splicing and cloning. We see a lot of the genetic splicing and the cloning at an all-time high. You could just look at a lot of celebrities. Jamie Foxx just recently went on a show and was basically talking about, y'all thought I was cloned to try to play it off, but we know the truth. We know that they've been doing these things since Clone-Aid. We know that. But way before Clone-Aid, actually. Way before play it off, but we know the truth. We know that they've been doing these things since Clone-Aid. We know that. But way before Clone-Aid, actually. Way before it off, but we know the truth. We know that they've been doing these things since Clone-Aid. We know that. But way before Clone-Aid, actually. Way before it off, but we know the truth. We know that they've been doing these things since Clone-Aid. We know that. But way before Clone-Aid, actually. Way before Peace, family. I got a call. My bad. Fourth Thunders. Sign of twins, Yao and Wei. One guards the South Pole and the other guards the North Pole. When they say Yao and Wei, now they're referring to Nibiru and Sirius. Okay? This is in regards to Nibiru and Sirius when they talk about Yao and Wei, the two brothers. All right? And now, typically, Yao and Wei, a lot of times one is agreeable, one is disagreeable, but I don't believe it really is applying to anything agreeable and disagreeable in this notation. It's just referring to the two brothers, which is Nibiru and Sirius. And now, a lot of the atmospheric conditions and climatic changes are going to come because of these two, Nibiru and Sirius, coming in too. This is what's going to happen. This is why the CIA has documents of California and water and all of these things taking place. You feel me? So right now it's important that we're up on this information. So all right, so now here we go into the fifth thunders. All right, let me make sure did I touch on the fourth thunder? Signs of twins, Yao and Wei. One guards the South Pole and the other guards the North Pole. Havoc begins with these pole structures break down. Religion, moral and financial. The devil wins. El Nino takes over. So the devil wins. El Nino. They're talking about in reference to the winds, the earthquake, the tornadoes, and all of these things that's going to come into play. The fifth thunders. 4 great people will perish. 4 great people. I don't know who those 4 great people could be. Maybe y'all can tell me in the comments who y'all think they can be. Did some of them perish already? Did we lose 4 great people? You feel me? That this says 4 great people will perish. Floods, lightning storms, tornadoes, landslides, hurricanes, hell in the summer. Forest fires, children killing children. We see what's going on with the drill rap, right? Children killing children is an all-time high right now with the drill music epidemic that's going on in Chicago. It's crazy right now. All right? Children killing children, children killing their parents, rampant insanity and murders, and upsurge in drug addiction and demonic revivals, parading themselves as righteousness. El Nino, little girl will come. It says 6 thunders, changes occur. The star people return. All right. And this is the part I really want to highlight for a minute, because the star people are returning. There's going to be, now again, we know that they're going to induce a lot of blue beam technology as well. We know they're going to fake an invasion. We know that. But in the midst of them faking and falsifying this invasion, there are going to be real celestial beings that are going to return. All right. And actually come back to Tiamat. This is actually going to happen. Now, the Hopis make mention of them being showed about corn, maize, a lot of different things came from extraterrestrial biological entities. In fact, everything we know on this plane of existence, from everything good to everything bad. Okay, we know about in the book of Enoch when they mentioned the 200 fallen and all of that. And the other angels that came down, I believe it was 9 of them, if I'm not mistaken, Azazel and a few other ones. They were showing them how to make swords and how to grow agriculture and how to get into how to intercourse and how to do all of these things came from extraterrestrial biological entities. All right, so for years we've been basically the zoo of the cosmos, trapped under a firmament with these watchers. Just basically watching us and examining us. Now, every few years, every 24,000 years or so, they reset us. They reset us. And this is facts. We'll progress a certain point to a certain point, and they'll reset us. They'll recalibrate us, flood us, or something like that. Or put us through an ice age or something crazy. They have technology where they can hit the polar ice caps and freeze us and flood us out. Real talk. And this is the things that they were doing. And now it's at a point now because a lot of these beings were breaking galactic law to subjugate us on this plane of existence. Real talk. So now it's at a point where the Galactic Federation and a lot of these beings want to see what we do to expand. Because since planet Tiamat is a huge testing facility, basically, and a lot of us are basically really, if you think about it, this planet is the only planet that has this much variety. All right, you have beings from the Nomos here. You have beings from the Vega star constellation here, which is the plant life and things of that nature. Lyrans and things of that nature, which you see in the tigers and the panthers and the lions and things of that nature. I mean, so all of us, you know, as far as plant, animal life, and the humanoid being, all derived from different extraterrestrial biological entities that seeded this planet at one point or another. All right, but since the malevolent factions, what you call it, Garabat, since these beings actually subjugated the planet, like the hidden hand and things of that nature, they've been usurping us for our loosh. They've been basically extracting us for loosh and resetting us every so often just to keep us from ascending to the point where we can bypass their mind control and the manipulation. But now it's at a point where we're getting past that. We're entering what's called the fifth world. And this is where now we get into the return of the star family. The six thunders, where it mentioned the star people return, signs in the skies, new planets, new galaxies, meteorite storms, climatic alterations, global warming, spiritual revivals, presence of divine, disregard and respect for present for world governments. Because we noticed that the government is the governmental. So it's going to be disregard for that. People are going to now be coming to the age of awakening, where they're now coming into the know. They no longer want to be governed. They govern themselves now. We step into that point now where we actually realize that we are the gods and goddesses to control and facilitate our paradigm. All right. And this is pretty much what that entails. All right. And that's with the six thunders, climatic alterations, global warming, spiritual revivals, presence of divine, disregard and respect for present for world government, leadership, and politics. And seventh thunder, the end of the worlds as you know it. And then they said the year 2030. All right, at the end. That's what it says at the end of that 730. And this is what the Hopis believe. All right, and this is what the Hopis talked about. And most of that, we see a lot of those thunders are actually coming into fruition. We see that. You feel me? So it's at a point now where our primary objective should be ascertaining our cosmic light body, integration of the cosmic light body. That should be our primary focal point, really. Getting to the point where we're centering ourselves and getting into, I highly recommend utilization of different plant medicines and things of that nature. I talked about my Iboga and Changa experience a little bit, and I'm going to share this a little bit with you, with the gods and goddesses a little bit. I'm not sure if y'all heard this, but I had an Iboga and Changa experience recently where when I utilized this plant medicine, it allowed me to hear the nefarious plots of the draconians, basically. Basically, I heard whispers. They were saying, like, they was real mad at the things that I'm doing in regards to promoting love, promoting ascension, all right? And basically, the law of one. They was basically opposed to that. And it was allowing me to hear the nefarious plots that these draconians are basically whispering, all right, about me. And then it also showed me, when it showed me that, it showed me the ancestors and what they're doing for me, as far as how they're protecting me from this nefarious plots and things of that nature. And then basically what the ancestors said to me is they said, see, this is all the things that we're protecting you from. These are all the things that we safeguard you from on a consistent basis that you have no knowledge of, that you're unaware of, because you only see 0.0.35% of the light photon spectrum. So these are all the things you can't see that we're basically protecting you from. And it basically was letting me know that you're divinely guided and protected. You have nothing to fear about. So this is the message for you. It's a lot of things that your ancestors are doing for you in overtime. And so don't worry so much about the matrix. Don't worry so much about this three-dimensional construct and what the illusion perpetuate. Your primary objective and focal point should be ascension to Haru consciousness and ascertaining more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and accessing your Akashic records. Fully focusing on honing in on self, realizing that you are the only God and goddess that you need. That should be the primary focal point. Once that becomes the full primary focal point, then you realize that not that anything outside of yourself is an illusion. Then that's when you realize that you are the Neo, basically the one, and in this simulated light code spectrum, in this matrix. You are the one, basically. And once you realize that, because everything around us is imploding as far as this matrix and as far as the thunders that I just read. The seven thunders pretty much is happening right now. Now, the C.I.A. document that I read backed this all up, family. It backed everything up in regards to the seven thunders. When they talked about the tumultuous activity that would take place in these places like California, New York, and all of this stuff. And this isn't fear-mongering. This is just to wake us up and make us aware. We know that the planet terraforming. We know it. All right. So in order for us to really ascend and ascertain these, because it's going to be a situation where inner earth beings are going to come to the surface. Beings from the other side of the ice wall are going to come. It's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot going on and a lot that you're seeing. All right. And, you know, and the goddess Isis Wisdom in her video, she made mention of something, and I agree with her. She made mention of nefarious beings actually surfacing through people that don't have souls. All right. This is why they made mention of the demon face syndrome. All right. A lot of these beings, a lot of these Garabat, they don't have, now the Seraphat is the positive Anunnaki, the ethereal beings from the other side, fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional beings that from the other side that came down. These are the green Etherean cosmic beings. Then you have the amber light beings, the ones of fire. Basically, they are jinn. These are the Garabat, all right? These Garabat are going to be manifesting through beings that don't have a soul, basically. And you're going to see demon faces coming through these individuals, right? So the point is, you have to remember that their primary sustenance is Lush, which is low-frequency energy, root chakra, energy, fear, anxiety, grief, guilt, depression. All of that low-frequency, those low-frequency vibrations is what this Garabat usurps, is what their sustenance is. This is why the importance of love is so high. As I expressed in my psychedelic experience where I seen winged entities, they told me that the most important thing that I'm going to have to focus on is the love frequency. And that's going to be the only thing that matters. Somebody said it started already, and it's a pity sleeping people have no clue what's coming. That's a fact. It started, it's going on now. It's a situation where we have to really tap into our inner self and realize what's going on. Because there's going to be a lot of tumultuous activity all around the internet, how we can buy it now. This eventually is going to be seized soon. I mean, I say within probably about, I don't even want to put a timeline on it, but I say a matter of 2 or so years, we're going to notice it's going to probably be blackouts. We're going to notice all kind of torrential downpour. Everything I mentioned in regards to the cataclysmic events, due to their cloud seeding, due to all of the things that they're doing to the planet is going to have to heal itself. And it's going to go through the terraforming process. We're going to notice it. We're going to notice it. Now, those that are in a high frequency have the ability of vibrating to the point where we can ascend past it, where none of it really matters. I believe in the cosmic activation is going to take place. I've seen it. I've seen visions of the gods and goddesses fully activating. All right. There's going to be celestial. I mean, again, when these celestial luminaries come into play, when these celestial bodies, when they say Yao and Wei, okay, the two brothers, Sirius and Nibiru, and all, it's going to have an effect on those that are indigenous to the planet and those that are associated with these extraterrestrial biological entities, these ships, basically. Some of us are going to remember our ancient memories immediately. We're going to immediately start speaking other languages and stuff. We're going to immediately start speaking in different ancient terrestrial tongue and stuff. I'm telling you some facts. We're going to immediately start channeling into this energy. And this energy is going to be radioactive to some people. They don't have a certain crystalline structure. This is why I talk about activation of the cosmic light body. Because you're going to go from a 666 carbon to a crystalline body. All right. This is going to all take place because of the sun. All right. You've been seeing the Aurora Borealis. All right. The Aurora Borealis takes place because of the central sun in Argatha, which is named Apsu. Okay. This is the central sun that we have, our black sun. That's the black sun's name, is Apsu. When this black sun emits that energy, it creates that Aurora Borealis effect that we see. What's going to happen is this Apsu is going to actually surface. It's going to rise. Now, there's been a lot of simulated technology. Apsu did rise at one point. And this is why there has been, again, it's a portal. The sun is a portal. Remember that. Beings have the ability of coming in and out of the sun. All right. A lot of the flares, the solar flares you see sometimes be beings that actually inhabit the sun is flaring out, popping out of the sun. It's beings that exist in the sun, plasma energy beings. You don't got to believe that. This is facts. There's beings that inhabit the sun too. It's composed of primarily full plasma beings. Now, again, a lot of these beings charge their ships in the sun. They can fly their ships right into the sun. All right. Those that are proficient in the art of sun gazing, you can see sometimes their ships even parked behind the sun. Their ships parked right in the sun. They charge on the sun. The sun isn't hot, contrary to what you think. The only reason it appears hot is because of the friction from when it hit the atmosphere and comes back up. This is why when you fly a plane closer to the sun or you go up higher, it gets colder actually. All right? It's not hot. It's plasma energy, but refracting off Tiamat, it creates the effect of heat, where we feel heat. Almost like when you put a microscope and you shine the sunlight through a microscope, right? And it can burn something, how it's filtered. That's pretty much the effect we get on this plane of existence from feeling that heat. Really, as we get closer to it, it becomes just as plasma energy. Really, it's just all the colors compiled into one. And it's a prism. It's a lot going on. But right now, we're going through a huge terraforming process on this planet. Let's go. Peace to the gods and goddesses. I tell people that all the time, and they think I'm nuts. No, it's true. It's true. It's definitely true. Yo, we definitely elevating in consciousness substantially. Now, when you talk about the interterrestrial beings, all right, a lot of those beings, because initially, planet Tiamat was a situation. The way Tiamat became Tiamat was from an explosion. All right, from an explosion. Tiamat was massive. It was massive at one point. But when one of the Nibiru's, which they call the winds, hit Tiamat, it actually cut it. And when it cut it, that other portion coalesced and became what we know as C.I.A right now. What we know is Eridu, which is actually Earth. Eridu means Earth, basically. All right, but Tiamat was the original home planet, which was a planet owned by a draconian. Which a high level draconian. When you hear draconian, it's a trigger word for some, and people automatically associate that with nefarious or cynical. But Tiamat was actually a benevolent queen. All right, and Tiamat was the one that actually helped the Lyrans at the time, because the Lyrans planet was destroyed by the Dracos. All right, but then at that time, the Lyrans didn't really understand the concept of technology. The Lyrans was more spiritual. They was more into magic and spirituality. They weren't really technological. Now, after their invasion, they became more technological. The second time the Draconians tried to invade, the Lyrans was fucking them up. So the Lyrans they get back too. It wasn't a situation where the Draconians just invaded them and destroyed them. Once Tiamat saved them, and then, after that, the way the story go, the Lyrans basically was the Lyrans basically awarded Tiamat a planet from saving them from Avion, because the Lyrans had other planets all over the cosmos, but that was their primary planet was planet Avion. You know what I'm saying? When planet Avion was destroyed by the Draconians, at that particular point, they took refuge on Tiamat. They came to Orion. All right, they was in the Vega star constellation at that point. But the Lyrans seeded the planet as well as the Arcturians. Once the Lyrans and the Arcturians seeded the planet, years later the Anunnaki came by. Millions of years later the Anunnaki came back by mining for gold, and then rechanged our genetics and stuff from 12 strand. Right? So they actually, even though they upgraded us and downgraded us at the same time. You feel me? So they upgraded us and downgraded us. Then Inky put a bunch in a mixture in the eugenics program. He spliced us with a lot of other extraterrestrial beings. And this is why they had to cap off our telomeres, because they feared what we would actually become. So this is why, and I've been getting a lot of ancient memories. I've been having a lot of this is why I highly recommend reading, ascertaining more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, getting as much knowledge as possible to activate dormant DEA. Reason being is because the more you ascertain knowledge, the more information you start to pull out the Akashic records, the more you activate. The more you activate. This is a fact. And this is why extraterrestrial beings that are more intelligent have the ability of hijacking the planet, because they're more intelligent. It's because they take time to gain knowledge. We've been brainwashed on this planet through indoctrination to completely focus on getting a dopamine hit, scrolling, you know what I mean? Focusing on just staying on board, right? A lot of people are bored with reading. People are bored with gaining knowledge for some reason, right? We have to get to the point where we get it from that. We have to get back into trying to study we should be getting to the point where we learn how to open up stargates. We should be getting to the point where we learn how to build these shams and some of these ships that have the ability of utilizing the ocean as a wormhole. We should be trying to figure out how our star family are doing what they're doing. This is the point where we need to be getting back to. Real talk. And the only way we're going to get there is by reading, researching, and ascertaining information. Because since I've been dabbling in and learning and really going into just bettering self, I've been having more crazy access to the Akashic records. I've been dreaming about different, I've been seeing giants in my dreams. A lot of them are Nubian beings adorned in gold. I see they have high technology and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I'm visiting an ancient world. I'm not sure where I'm going, but I'm seeing these beings in these transcendental states of awareness. You feel me? So the more you ascertain information, the more you begin to unlock your Akashic records. And you will start to have these dreams, these lucid dreams. I tell you, get your mugwort, get your blue lotus. Utilize things like Harataki. All right. Utilize things like colloidal gold and colloidal silver. All right. They're great for reversing the process of senescence, which is aging. Senescence is when your trillions of cells stop multiplying. Once your trillions of cells stop multiplying, your skin starts wrinkling. Your hair follicles start to gray. All right. So things like mineral deficiency is primarily why people age so much on this plane of existence. Things like shilajit, colloidal gold, colloidal silver will just start to reverse the process of aging. Things like Celtic salt. You know what I mean? Himalayan, just utilization of Himalayan sea salt. You shouldn't be utilizing any refined sugar or carbohydrates or processed food right now. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't be. All right? And I got to be careful when I get into this topic of discussion on this app. But you got to be very careful and cautious of what you eat, especially genetically modified organisms. All right? That have a bearing on your genetic sequence. It's important that you're consuming things like black mackerel, which is essential for endocrine function. You're consuming things again, I made mention of shilajit because it's great for, there's a lot of endocrine disruptors, all right, that are utilized, microplastics and things of that nature. We have to get to the point where we're cleansing ourselves of our parasites. We're utilizing things like chlorophyll. This is imperative right now. Very important that we're doing these things, all right? And once we get into cleansing ourselves, then we can properly integrate cosmic light, sun gazing, grounding, use of copper bracelets, I express. Copper bracelets create what's called RF shielding, which is radioactive frequencies. They will literally protect you from radio frequencies and things of that nature, from satellites and different transmissions that these deletes utilize. Just wearing copper. Wearing copper. All right, I wear my copper bracelets every day. I feel naked without them. I'm going to keep it a bean. You wear copper bracelets, you should have them on all the time. Not only that, they strengthen your electromagnetic aura field. Remember I told you your electromagnetic aura field typically stretch out about 3 foot. But as you begin to do different breathing techniques and eat right, your electromagnetic aura field could stretch out about 15 feet. We first need to understand our power and know that the only way out is to go within and research. That's a fact. I drink moringa and blend and 6 blend mushrooms with chia and poppy sesame seeds daily with Celtic salt, ashe. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. We have to get to the point where we're basically focusing on integration of our cosmic light body. We need to be taking the proper herbs. I noticed, I tested myself, right? When I take my herbs every day, my cordyceps, when I'm utilizing things like ginkgo biloba, which is very good for, sometimes you hear the ringing in your ear. It's not always your ancestors, all right? It's not always your cosmic family. They use a lot of ELF waves and extremely low frequencies and EMF waves and things of that nature that have a bearing on us. Wearing things like copper bracelets also will reduce the ringing in your ears. Utilization of things like ginkgo biloba, all right? When I noticed though, when I utilize my herbs on a consistent basis, I'm less hungry. All right. I don't need to eat. All right. But if I don't consume herbs, I notice that I'm getting more cravings and things of that nature, which we know a lot of cravings are parasites, to be 100% real. All right. A lot of the herbs, a lot of the herbs eradicate parasites in the gut, like Harataki, for example, eradicates bad microbiome in the gut. Or you can consume Harataki, and it was known to fight viruses like C.I.A. Okay, I gotta watch what I say when I get into subjects like that. But it's not only just good for decalcifying and activating the pineal gland, but it also heals the microbiome in the gut. Remember, the gut is a second brain. All right, if you can get rid of the parasites and things of that nature by way of wormwood, black walnut, and whole cloves, and that not only kills the parasites but eradicates their eggs. Now, some people ask me about duck flower. Duck flower is very aggressive for a lot of people, all right? Duck flower is great, but it's very, very aggressive. Some people feel like they're dying when they use duck flower. So, me personally, I think the combination of the sweet wormwood, black walnut, and whole cloves would not only kill the parasites and eradicate their eggs and will be more than enough. And then if you top that with utilization of chlorophyll, which is gonna, the mycelius is gonna wrap around the deceased parasites to carry them out of the body. It's gonna not only, because some people use activated charcoal, which is cool, but I prefer chlorophyll. I prefer chlorophyll because it's synonymous to like the plasma. All right, how it goes through the blood. It's synonymous to blood. All right, it's very close to blood. All right, and the more you use chlorophyll, the more it's gonna alkaline the body. It's high in alkaline as well. So I recommend utilization of chlorophyll to remove the parasites, and also it's great for chelation therapy. So it's gonna, if you use like a spirulina and chlorella, you're gonna also detox the body of toxic metals. You're gonna be able to remove the body of the metals. And this is gonna help for integration of cosmic light. Now, a lot of people right now, when I talk about the sun, it may not resonate right now because it's wintertime, but the sun is gonna rapidly increase, all right? Everything I'm making mention of in regards to these cataclysms is due to celestial luminaries like Sirius and Nibiru and our sun ramping up substantially. All right, and it's going to happen, believe it or not. All right, those that understand and know that this information is true, know they have to get themselves right. Yeah, somebody said they're not using duck flour ever again. I don't recommend it. Some people say, "Oh, duck flour it purges you," and they think they use it and they feel like they're dying. Some things can be unhealthy where you use it and it takes a lot of the minerals out of your body that you actually need, and it almost can kill you. Probably take a few years off your life even. It may purge you and clean you out, but you might lose a few years off your life. Dead ass. It sounds crazy, but I'm speaking facts. Been having soreness in my heart area. Any herbs you recommend for that? Yes, I highly recommend utilization of St. John's wort. St. John's wort is going to be essential for the heart. All right, and that's going to be great for the heart. St. John's wort. I have the chill pill actually available on Holistic Remedies. It's composed of ashwagandha, rhodiola, as well as St. John's wort, which are all great for calming you down, relieving anxiety, as well as heart, and your circulatory system and things of that nature. And let's see, I'm not going to use duck flour. This is, what company do you use for the frequency shielding? What you mean, what company do I use for? I have the copper bracelets on Holistic Remedies. Copper and shungite is going to be great for shielding. Orgone is even good for shielding. Anything like that is going to be phenomenal for EMF protection or radiation protection. You gotten off track? Why you get off track, Cosmic Family? Well, you here right now, so you're not too far off track. You feel me? You still vibing with the collective, so you're not too far off track. You're still on point. Don't be so hard on yourself. You see something we got to also realize, gods and goddesses, that we also are playing the game. We also in this simulation, and we also in these meat suits. All right, so as long as we in these meat suits, these are like our VR headsets really, attached to the simulation. So you have to realize that, and don't be so hard on yourself. Realize that you also are here to have an experience, okay? And then once you realize that, it makes it easier for you to navigate this matrix better. You don't want to view spirituality like religion. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm hard on myself. You just knowing that you're a god or goddess and a sentient being inhabiting this meat suit and navigating this avatar and the energy don't die means that you're spiritual. All right. You don't have to have a certain repertoire that you adhere to or a regimen that you adhere to be spiritual. All right. Just existing in this incarnation, in this reality, makes you a spiritual being, because we are spirit. We aren't the body. So it's no such thing of not being spiritual. Even if you are in a low frequency, you are still spiritual, because by default, we are spirit. So you are always spiritual. I had a dream I was activated in a fight and fighting other beings. That wasn't a dream, God. That you were really there. Dreams they tell us that dreams are just these alternate subconscious constructs, but really we are astral traveling to alternate timelines and realities where we're doing these things and experiencing these things on a quantum level. That's a fact. Past week I have been seeing lights, having super vivid dreams, but also feverish sleep patterns. Well, you're going through an activation. See, this is the thing. We don't have to have a harmful ascension process. If you're having feverish things, I highly recommend utilization of things like nettle. All right. You want to make sure that you're taking the necessary herbs and you're not watch what you're eating. I highly recommend checking what you're eating for everybody, because the food is very compromised. All right. So everything is in ascension symptoms, gods and goddesses. The food is very compromised because there's an attack on our ascension process. So this is why I heavily advocate intermittent fasting, getting into fasting more. If you can go without consuming their food, the longer the better. If you can go a few hours without eating, then kudos to you. If you can go along, because see, the biggest thing that we overwork is our digestive system. We overwork our digestive system. We've been indoctrinated into believing that we need 3 meals a day, and then snacking on top of it. And most of the foods and snacks, believe it or not, is processed food with emulsifier agents, with cancer-causing additives. All right? The emulsifiers are what preserve the food for the shelf life. So you can walk in a store like Publix or Kroger or Tops, wherever your local shopping market is, all right? Giant Eagle, okay? For I don't know who all watching this, all right? But when you walk in those places, you should be reading the ingredients of the food and really watching what you're putting in your body, all right? If you don't understand what it is, 9 times out of 10, if you're reading it and it's like 10 different letters in it, it's an emulsifier. It's a preservative, all right? Which, and a lot of these are genetically modified. They have adverse effects on your genetic sequence. So what's happening is your body's trying to ascend because of the cosmic light, but then at the same time, you're poisoned simultaneously. So your ascension symptoms become sickness. Ascension symptoms shouldn't be sickness. I hear people say that. Oh, it's now normal. No, it's not. It's because of the poison that these deletes are putting on it in our food, right? So this is why we got to make sure we're taking the necessary herbs. They want you to think it's normal. No. This is why people like me and you got many others that, tell you to cleanse yourself. Make sure you're taking, see, I talk about utilization of sweet wormwood, black walnut, and whole cloves so much because the way they get you is through parasitic organisms, okay? A lot of the food has manufactured parasitic organisms. If you look at a lot of the Doritos and chips and cakes and sugar cakes under a microscope, you'll see very small bugs on them. Very, very small bugs. Smaller than a parasite. See, think about it. You can use the restroom and then if you use a parasite cleanse, literally look back and see a bug in the toilet, right? And I don't mean to be gross or disgusting. But a lot of these other ones, if you get food, if you look in a microscope, you have to look through a microscope to see them. And I'm going to tell you why. They're so small, they genetically manufacture these parasites. So when they get in your colon, then they increase in size. They then attach to your digestive tract and begin to consume that food. And then now you crave food. You're waking up craving Takis with Red 40, which is a cancer-causing additive. You're waking up craving all of these processed foods, which have more parasites in them. And then the parasites have the ability of creating what's called Toxoplasma gondii, which is brain parasites. They travel right here through your neural network, which, again, your stomach has neurons, all right? Your heart has neurons, and your brain obviously has neurons. So they have the ability of traveling all through your neural network to get to your brain. And then at that point, they induce what's called the hive mind. They have the ability of controlling you. They have the ability of implementing certain deceptive, demonic encryptions, all right, to get you to do certain things. And this is a fact. This is why I tell you to parasite cleanse and do all of this. And when I talk about extraterrestrial biological entities that inhabit this planet and how certain extraterrestrials have different cynical machinations, are in charge of different cynical machinations on this planet, some people think I'm crazy. When I tell you that the Greys are responsible for different toxic metals, lead, cadmium, and mercury. When I tell you that the mantoids and the insectoids are responsible for different parasitic entities and things of that nature. When I make mention of the draconians being responsible for child trafficking and the usurpation of your adrenochrome and things of that nature from the 33rd vertebrae or the left eye, people think I'm crazy. All right. There's different extraterrestrials that actually introduce certain things on this planet that are nefarious. And they actually utilize this planet for slave labor. And some of the elites that work in conjunction with these nefarious beings, and I got to be careful what I say in certain parts, but you hear about Pizzagate and all that. You hear about different things like that. Little Caesars and all of these codes they got. The Black Eye Club, all of these different things. I gotta be very cautious with certain wordplay, but it's just a situation where like, for example, when you go into places like Walmart and you see missing children, those are, what if I told you those was menus? Those wasn't missing children. Those was actually menus and different codes that different deletes can put in to actually get these kids and stuff. You know what I mean? I gotta be careful, but y'all understand my point. And this is things that we're going to be, when we go through cosmic light code activation, the white blood cells on the planet are going to power up. I seen us saving kids and children off 18-wheelers. I seen us powered up, shooting energy beams at our hand, flying. I seen us embody these abilities. But see, the toxic food, the money system, all of the things that they put in this matrix actually keep us downtrodden to the point where we can't really get into light code activation. So this is why when they hear messages like love, or why they want to stop apps like TikTok, because messages like this are getting out. They thought that y'all was going to be twerking and all of that, but y'all getting cosmic knowledge. Y'all learning about the 7 thunders, the 7 plagues. You're learning about Sirius and the Nibiru. You're learning about interterrestrials. You're learning about different extraterrestrial beings and the Garabat, the different jinn and things of that nature. They didn't want you to hear this information. You feel me? Share the live, gods and goddesses. We got to get these numbers up. This is important information that the collective need to hear. So, to be honest, they keep me low in your algorithm, all right? They ban my videos every other day. They take my videos down, right? So, the objective is to combat. See, they want you to see a bunch of bull. They want you to see a bunch of things to keep your frequency low. The objective is now, see, with all of this things going on the planet and the tumultuous activity, our objective at this point is to continue to raise in frequency. I seen us powered up and activated. I seen us so powerful that the military couldn't come near us. We were walking personifications of the sun. This is a fact. This is a fact. We are going to, everything that Simeon Toko had the ability of doing, their Simon Kabongo, as far as these abilities, we are going to envelop these abilities again. We are going to envelop these abilities. And it's going to be a situation where they can't stop what we're going to be doing. They're not going to be able to stop what and this is why Simeon Toko said, many like us will return. Many like me will return. This is why Simeon Toko said that. Many like him will return. And this is what's happening now. This is why it's very important to make sure that you're focusing on activation of your cosmic light body. You should be fasting, grounding, cleansing yourself, exercising, training, becoming stronger. And not just to become stronger I mean, it's good for the aesthetics. I love to look good. Don't get me wrong. You feel me? But it's important to make sure that you can protect yourself when shit get real. You feel me? I have to just be real. You have to make sure that you have to make sure that you can integrate this cosmic light real good. You gotta, listen, in ancient times, we didn't have to eat as much. We didn't have to eat as much. When you hear your stomach growling, it's not because you're hungry. As I expressed, your stomach is eradicating bad microbiome in the gut when it happens. So it's at a point where we need to start fasting again. We need to start cleansing ourselves. I told you, coconut water. Great for hydration. You know what I'm saying? I love coconut water as nature's Gatorade. You know what I'm saying? I consume coconut water all the time. You feel me? You want to make sure that you're training consistently. Stretching. Stretching is very important as we get up in age and older, and even if you're young watching this in your 20s, 17, 18, 19, stretch consistently. All right? Fast from the food. Get to the point where you're also fasting from the internet. To be honest, I haven't been making videos that much. I've been tapping into reading. I took a few days to take some time off and read and to focus on ascertaining knowledge. I've been utilizing the plant medicine like the iboga, all right? Which is a very good plant medicine that will allow you to tap into the ancestral plane, okay? Will have you feeling like Neo in the Matrix, all right? For any interested in like the plant, the tap into certain plant medicine, contact me on my Facebook, Calvin Strange Crippen, CALVIN, Strange Crippen, and I'll connect you to the plant medicine where you can. I highly recommend everyone to tap into a plant medicine experience. And I'm saying that before the blackout come, before we get to a situation where we can't ascertain the correct herbs and the correct things to get us to higher dimensional planes, you should get those things now. Right? Anything they told you about psychedelics or magic mushrooms or even acid, which is from a plant, I may add. Acid is from the lysergic acid. It's from a plant. It's derived from a plant. What it does is make the left and the right hemisphere of the brain actually link. All right? So if you left brain or right brain, now you become both simultaneously, where you have the ability. This is why it lasts for 12 or 14 hours. That was my first psychedelic I ever utilized. When I first utilized that, I seen Wi-Fi. I was able to walk outside and see the Wi-Fi signals literally up in the air. I was able to see everything. I was able to see, and then from there I utilized the magic mushroom, which is probably my favorite. Magic mushroom is the only psychedelic that you can actually ask a question and it will answer you. It will literally answer you. Should also learn plants you can eat around where you live too. Yeah, I agree with you. Every god and goddess should get to the point where they learn how to grow their own vegetables eventually. My goal is to actually get to the point where you, how do you can use whole cloves, you can grind them up, okay? You can chew the cloves. Some people use the cloves for toothache. They'll put a clove in their mouth and literally chew it and then get rid of toothaches and everything. How did Simeon Toko achieve those abilities before the activation? Oh, that's a very good question. Simeon Toko was an ascended master. Simeon Toko had what's called a Kundalini awakening. He activated his Ida and Pingala. All right, the Ida and the Pingala. The Pingala is associated with the masculine energy. The Ida is associated with divine feminine energy. All right, one is associated with the sun. One is associated with the moon. He had the ability of activating this. When you get a Kundalini awakening, listen, Simeon Toko was just one of many. All right, the Amazulu, which is the Zulus, that stand for sky people. Okay, what they teach in regards to the Zulus, a lot of the women was actually, they was activating a Merkaba. They was activating a light body to fly to this planet. When their planet was in jeopardy, the first planet they inhabited actually was Mars. All right, which the ancient word for Mars was Lemieux. They was actually inhabiting Mars. This is why there's spaces on Mars and different structures on Mars. We was all over. And this is also why you talk about the Moors coming from Mars. You guys may have heard that, and this is why Marvin the Martian is depicted in blackface, and he has the black, the green and red on him. Marvin the Martian from Mars, he was a Moor. All right, we was on other planets, but see, as far as Simeon Toko, not to veer off too far off of that, a lot of our beings came from the stars, and a lot of us have these activations and a lot of these abilities in our genetic makeup. We just have to have a Kundalini awakening and realize who we really are, and we can all accomplish that. This is why Simeon Toko said many will become like me. The activation can come within self. Okay? Now, as far as the geomagnetic storm, that's going to force our activation. But we can activate now with the right sustenance and the right meditations and the right breathing exercises. We can begin to kind of have a Kundalini awakening now. We can. But it just goes with isolating yourself and separating yourself from the indoctrination and realizing who you really are. That all come into that. You feel me? Once you realize who you really are, you have the ability of fully activating. All of us been distracted again. The Saturn moon matrix, the Black Knight satellite, which has been watching us for 13,000 years, the food, the chemtrails, the fluoridated water. I mean, you got to think about all the machinations, right? Once you think about all the machinations, you realize we've been heavily put away from our God mind. Heavily put away. Just detoxing and having the utilization of the proper herbs and exercising and meditating can pull you closer to your God self. Utilization of herbs like ashwagandha, moringa, black seed oil every day. You should be taking black seed oil every day. I told you it's rich in thymoquinone and fights diseases like cancer. This is why. All right? Rich in thymoquinone, there's a lot of cancer-causing additives all around us, gods and goddesses, all around us. Things like sour sop bitters, gravolia, which is 10,000 times more effective than chemotherapy. These are all things you can use. Lion's mane. Lion's mane is not only effective, Hericium erinaceus is also essential for autoimmune diseases because it's great for eradication of candida or a bad microbiome in the gut as well. Most of these things that help, Ayurvedic herbs that help for decalcification of the pineal gland, are also essential for eradication of bad microbiome in the gut. Remember, they attack us through our stomach. This is why when the parasites get in the colon, they have the ability of actually affecting your neural synapses. They have the ability of affecting your thoughts. Children of the sun are back for their Stargate portals and ships. That's a fact. We got to get to the point where we activating and building these Stargates and ships and portals. And this all comes with eating clean and things of that nature. I guarantee once you start utilizing the proper herbs, utilizing the proper detox in the body, you're going to start getting more downloads. Getting in the sun every 8 minutes and 30 seconds that you're in the sun, you receive new cosmic information. You receive new downloads. All right, so getting in the sun, make sure you're sun gazing, make sure you're grounding, plugging in with nature. If it's too cold in your demographic, touch a tree. You can't ground probably, but go out and touch a tree. Okay, because the trees are connected to the root systems in the ground, which is also connected to the planet. And you're going to also receive that electric current just by... Wood is a very strong conductor of electricity. A lot of people don't realize that. All right? And your melanin is a conductor of electricity. So if you walk out and put your hands on a tree like this or hug a tree, all right, you can receive electrons that way as well. All right? So if you live in an area, like I'm in Florida, so I can go out and ground, I can go outside. You know what I'm saying? It's not real cold here. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's a cold front all around the planet. I believe there's deceptive technology underway to, try to freeze the planet in certain areas.